Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We'll get started in a minute here. Just getting our live feed set up. Should be fun today. We're going out to 20,000 people. Got
Wow.
permissions on another general BNI group, so we'll get that
That's great.
loaded here in just a minute. All right. How is everyone doing?
Great.
Good, good. Well, I am so happy to have everybody again. These have been fun. And everyone has turned out a little bit different. So today, so everyone in here knows, we have gone live in a 20,000 member BNI group. It's the general BNI group. The admins have allowed us to step into that that group and share our Facebook. So, or share with Facebook. So, you know, share best practices. Each one of these have been a little bit different. Today we have a little bit larger call, and I expect we're probably going to see some more people jump on here in just a few moments. So go ahead and share in the chat box, if you will, kind of where you are, your contact information, so we have that. And then also make sure you flag that area if you have something specific that you want to ask or a topic that you want to address. So just let me know if there's anything specific that you want to bring up. So I'm Brad Seaman, for those of you that don't know me. I'm in sunny San Diego. I've been putting together BNI agents across the country for the past 3 years, maybe 3.5 now, and really trying to grow a network of agent-to-agent referrals and people across the country to share best practices in BNI. And no time like the present to really share some of these best practices with our groups and what's going on right now. So I recognize that everyone across the country right now is in different places in their lockdown and how they're handling business. So I want to start out our conversation with sharing anything that you might have that's really lifting up other BNI members. I'm looking for some new ideas this week on what we can do to help others and really get them marketed, supported. And I'll start out with one that we just implemented this week, and then maybe we'll open it up for others to step in here and just share. So what we did this week, we added in our, we're gonna do breakout groups in our BNI chapter this week. So we set up our meeting, and we have a little bit shorter meeting with only one speaker this time, so it should land us at about an hour or an hour and 10 minutes. And then we've asked everybody to allocate an extra 30 minutes after our meeting to do a smaller networking breakout group. So somewhere between 5 and 7 members, we're going to break out and we're going to ask 3 major questions. So number 1 is, what's working well for you right now in business? Number 2 is what's not working so well, or what are your biggest challenges with the new way that we're doing business? And then number 3 is, as a group, as a small breakout group, what is one thing we can do to help support others in the chapter? Whether that's a specific person, a specific business, or really helping train and lift people up during this time. So I don't have results from it yet, but we do have that up and running for this week, and super excited to share our results with you later on the call on Friday. What else is everyone else seeing? Is there anything out there that that you're doing or that you have found that works really well, or any ideas?
A question.
Sure.
And what are you guys doing with your visitors? Are you assigning them to one of those breakout groups?
Yes, that's correct. So we're taking a breakout group, and the visitor host closer is pulling those visitors aside, talking them through how it works. And in our specific case, we are allowing them to be there for 3 weeks on the Zoom calls. And then hopefully this will be over and we'll be able to meet them in person again. But for the time, the current situation is we're doing 3 weeks free, and then we'll invite them into a breakfast when the time's right.
I'm sorry, I meant when you do the breakouts,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to assign them to one of the breakouts as well?
No, they'll go into a breakout with the visitor host.
Oh, that's when they'll do their,
Yeah.
okay.
So they'll just be in a separate room, and we'll loop that visitor host closer back into one of our little breakout sessions afterwards. Good question, though.
Hey, Brad, James Scarcelli in Monarch Beach, California. Our group, we have decided to have all of our speakers that are presenting in their BNI group to address the covert virus, what information they can give us from their particular business, for whether it's real estate, mortgages, insurance, health insurance, all kinds of things. So it's been very helpful. We're trying to attract more members and visitors on our virtual meetings by providing content that people are interested in right now.
So James, is that like a stimulant that you're using and asking everyone as a part of their ask to come out and share information, or is that in your presentations themselves?
Both
Okay.
of them.
So specifically tailor content to what's going on and what perspective you can bring
Exactly, because we're trying to get more people at our meetings, and we figure if we had the content, just like all the webinars that I'm joining right now, I'm looking for content and information and how to employ, if you've got unemployment benefits, if you got this going on in your industry, what industry, just to get people more knowledge.
I think that's great. That's very good. So it's tailored. It also brings a purpose for people to visit. So not only are they going to be able to talk about their own business, but they also get this opportunity to engage with the group and learn more on how they might be able to be supported. I think a common theme in these conversations that we've had is visitors are very open to joining these meetings, right? They're looking for connection. They're looking to check it out and see what's going on. So I think that's great. It's an added value and call to action for people to come and check out the group. What else? I see some new faces in here. Anybody else want to share what they're doing, or maybe some struggles? Like what are the challenges that you're having that you feel is not going well for you?
This is Colin Clancy. How you doing, Brad? Hey, everybody.
Hey, Colin.
I have a quick question about weekly presentations. You guys doing that? I'm the secretary treasurer for our group out here in Los Gatos, and last week we had one person do it, and it was a struggle. I'm just wondering what everyone else is doing.
We're continuing.
Our chapter, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Gloria Steele out in Tampa. Our chapter is doing the presentations, and we're sending our slideshow presentation to the president beforehand, and we basically have to tell him when to change it for us, but he's running our slideshows for us as we talk.
Are you getting two presenters?
Yes, we had two the last 2 weeks. And then our director was there before that.
Colin, this is Rhonda Heth. I'm with Remax Alliance in Northern Colorado. And one thing that we did the first week, I was not up to speak for a few weeks, but we switched things around, and the lender and I kind of tag teamed together and hit the highlights of what we were seeing, you know, just as information was coming out. And then we just gave the group a minute for some question and answers, you know, just to kind of help. And so we kind of combined ours, and I think it was received really well.
So was that 20 minutes?
Yeah, we do 8 minutes, so 15, 16 minutes. We're 65 members, so we had to shorten our presentations a little bit.
Sure.
Colin, how big is your chapter?
We're 46 people. Without even giving a presentation, we were struggling just to get it to an hour and a half, and then we put in a presentation into it, and it was even harder. And we're doing 45-second infomercials and running through the chapter. It's much more cumbersome with unmuting and muting and getting the next person online, and you have people on a laptop, a desktop, a phone, an iPad, and it's just all over the board.
They have asked us, they've given us 45 seconds, and we do our ask and our I haves at the same time. So we're only running through the chapter once.
Yeah, that's what we were doing as well.
Together.
And
yeah, that's what we were doing.
Make sure that your president and whoever's handling the admin that is just muting people, cutting them off if they need to at 45 seconds. I mean, you have not a huge chapter, but you have a quite large chapter. And so cadence throughout the meeting is really important. Right. Making sure that you get through the meeting.
We definitely haven't found our rhythm.
Yeah. So we didn't stop our meeting. We actually never had a down week. We just kept going. And so we got all the bugs out in that very first initial week. And then we're 37 members right now. And so we just kept going through it. And ultimately the second week when we were up live with BNI Online, our first chapter meeting was an hour and 15 minutes. So it can be done. It just takes the right direction and making sure that you add new things. Now we're talking twice, the leadership team's talking twice after the meeting. So 2 times throughout the week on how do we make sure we re-engage the members back in, making sure that we're following a good cadence throughout the meeting and that it's really tight, and then fixing something, you know, all the little tiny details we're fixing every single week.
Brad, can
yes.
you hear me? Yeah, this is Claudia Hart. I'm in Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Cape Coral area. I'm with Century 21 Selling Paradise. One of the things that we're doing is we are running a little contest and having a little fun with it. But a lot of the contest, it's really circles around one-to-ones, doing it by Zoom meetings or on the phone, and doing, of course, bringing a visitor is a big deal, and continuing education. We're just really trying to keep people engaged with each other, keep them involved, keep them learning. And it's and we get different points and have some different rules and regulate. You can't do it one-to-one with the same person and stuff like that. So just trying to put a little bit of fun into it and following the guidelines of BNI other than that on the meetings. So.
That's great. Create some energy around it. I love it.
Hi, Brad. This is Monica.
Hi.
And actually, you're seeing a picture of my husband. I don't know why he's there, but I think I'm in his Zoom. I've got my own account, but I'm from Minneapolis with EXP. Thank you for this call. And our meeting has pretty much been flawless since we started our Zoom calls. One thing that's been fun with the person who's presenting, we've had 2 people do this, is they're giving a tour of their office and introducing their staff. So you can actually have some fun with your 10-minute presentation and just saying, hey, if you have an opportunity, I can walk you through my lobby and introduce you to my beautiful office, my receptionist. So it's been great. We haven't had any hiccups at all. But our chapters, we only have 15 people. But our visitor day last week, we had about 22. And it worked just the same. So, I mean, knock on wood, we're doing okay, other than just we're all missing each other because we have a really pretty tight, meeting. But yeah, it's been pretty good.
That personal connection's been tough for us. I shared that in our
Mhm.
last mastermind. Just not, I'm so zoomed out. It's crazy. But it's still, it's the closest thing we have, right? It's the most appropriate thing we can do. And I think engagement is one of the top things we've talked about, is just figuring out a way to engage. I said it last time that I was lazy, and the meetings make me go network with people. And so now I just have to be much more purposeful. Um, and I think other people are realizing that too, or initially just went for it and started doing those one-to-ones at the best possible way they could. One thing that, I'm purposeful about doing it over the past several weeks, but our members, I don't think, have been as purposeful. So doing this breakout session after the meeting, when they're already signed in and they're already there, we're hoping will create a little bit more of that connection and that interaction. So we're trying to make the others take the same steps, where some of them we feel like are starting to disconnect a little bit. What other challenges are we seeing out there from other chapters? Who's struggling? It's
Hi,
perfect.
Brad.
Hi.
We're having a little bit of a retention issue. Folks that are coming up for renewal, not feeling the value, not
Yeah.
being able to deliver referrals and so forth. We're starting to have a few people drop or certainly question the value of BNI. It's one of the challenges we're having.
What is your chapter doing to get ahead of that? Are you doing anything to be highly communicative ahead of their renewal?
Well, we're discussing it with them and that kind of thing too, but they're just making a dollars and cents kind of, I'll call it a short-term decision, in that regard. So we're engaging them way in advance of the renewal date. We typically do that 60 days ahead of time and have plenty of conversations around that. But if you have folks that are just kind of on the edge financially anyway, we have a massage therapist, for example, who he can't deliver massages, interior painter. She's reasonably solid, but she can't do interior painting at the current time and so forth. So we have folks that are hurting financially a little bit, unable to do that. Now we've done things like waived our chapter dues and those kind of things just to try to make the financial burden a little bit lighter, but still we have some retention issues.
So two things that we've been really proactive in our chapter, because we expect that we're going to have some attrition. It's going to happen. So one thing that we focused on was making sure that we have a plan for them on their furloughed dues for the actual site. And then the other is to talk to our region right away and make sure that the region understands, and we know their position as well. So our region isn't publicizing that they're going to start making arrangements for members, but they are doing it. So if you have a member who might come into a payment plan or still wants to be a part of it, but just recognizes that there's a challenge to pay the whole amount up front for the year, you might be able to work something out with the region.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Trish, Trisha Ramirez. So infomercial.
Hey there.
How are you?
Great. Hi.
Good. Hey, so explain to me a little bit more about what your comment is in the chat here.
Okay, so someone did mention it a few minutes ago. We are doing our 42nd. We are a very small group, 17 of us. So we do our commercial and we do our weekly business right after at the same exact time. We have a slide with each member's name in our presentation. So until it's your name, you stay muted. It seems like we have hardly any streaming issues or fluttering and noise issue. And we're completing our meetings in about an hour and 15 minutes. We have had 10-minute presentations. We did in our first week, we didn't have a meeting, just the president, myself, and the secretary treasurer, and we got all the bumps out just by us three doing it. So the very following week, we called it a mock meeting, but it went pretty smooth. We just in the very beginning of the meeting, we just tell everybody stay muted until it's time for their name to come up, and then they speak, and then go right back to muted. And we really encourage that chat room with questions. While someone's thinking about it, they can put their question in that to everyone. And our president or myself or the secretary, we address it at the end of everybody's commercials and thank you for closing business. And
That's
it's worked
great.
fine.
I love that. And we're also, for those of you that have larger chapters, we found a lot of success in pushing specific, not the specific ask piece, but the testimonials I have into the chat box. So if you haven't started doing that and you're struggling getting to the end of the meeting, you can, have them focus on a 30-second ask or a 40-second ask, and then push all of their testimonials and things into the chat box to keep the meeting flowing. We're 37. I know some of you are 60, 70 members. So you have, a smaller chapter is going to be more forgiving. The larger chapters, we got to figure out efficiencies.
Hey, Brett.
Hey.
How are you? So thanks again for doing this. So in our chapter, a couple of things. We are about 34 members. So the president goes down the list, the same list every week. So he will say, Brad, you're next, and after Brad, Katie is going after. And this way, that person is just getting ready. So as soon as that person finishes, they know already who's coming next. And we only have one chance. And that's where we do 45 seconds, and that's where you give your referrals, testimony, and your commercial all at once. I also want to mention, so I've been doing the one-to-ones that I mentioned on the last mastermind, and it has gone very well. So one of them was with a health counselor. That she cannot necessarily see patients, but I gave her an idea. I told her, why don't you reach out to all your current customers and you offer them a 20-minute complimentary session? What that's going to do, one, you're going to be top of mind for them. You came from contribution when nobody else was calling, and you're going to make those customers think of somebody else that you help. So when things get back to our new normal, those customers are going to go back to you. With the bookkeeper, he's been getting a lot of calls from clients regarding the SBA, the PPP, and all those programs. And so he's spent a lot of time cleaning up what the media is saying and what they're reading. So one of the things that I suggested for him, why don't you do a Zoom call with your customer to answer all those questions all at once? And because you keep repeating yourself, and your customer are going to see that there's other people that are having the same challenges. And so this morning I went to LinkedIn and I saw another CPA that was just doing that. So I sent him a screenshot. I said, listen, this is what another CPA is doing. So it's just, for me, the one-to-one has been, what can I do for you to help with your business? And in the conversation, always an idea comes up. So they're very appreciative. Thank you.
I love the adding value and finding ways to help people just in basic business practices, right? Like if we've got something figured out, I mean, realtors are typically ahead of the game. We've got something figured out. I mean, this concept of doing Zoom meetings, I shared with other members that were in my BNI chapter, and they're like, you're doing what? I said, well, it's pretty simple. I mean, all I do is I send out an email to a bunch of people and they show up. Obviously, there's a little bit more to it, but it's just something that has become second nature now. And we're doing them twice a week. And the first one, we had 85 people on it, and it's been really exciting. And just sharing that with other people so that they can find like a CPA or something else to really hone in on how to leverage others. I think that's great, or not leverage others, but help others.
For example, for the acupuncture, is what I suggest to her was something similar with the sessions, informative session. But I told also just reach out to other acupuncturists in the area in South Florida. I mean, we're from Miami, so reach out and just create a mastermind. Just the same thing that we're doing here. Just do it with other acupuncturists. You will, oh, well, I didn't think about that. So, I mean, as you say, we always kind of ahead of the game, and by just sharing what we getting from this group here with our members, is going to add value.
Well,
Just wanted to answer the point where the the gentleman a couple back was saying that he's losing some members and has a massage therapist and stuff. A lot of times if we as members can help other members who are not maybe as sophisticated in marketing and offer, get one massage, get the other one for half price, and try to raise some money for them while they're going through this. Because even if they're going to take a little bit of less on their fees, they probably will gain a customer for a longer period of time. And I find that a lot of members might not have the marketing savvy or the ideals that might work in other businesses. For instance, right now, people that are applying for unemployment and stuff like that, it's hard to get anybody to answer questions on applications and stuff. So there should be a slew of referrals for your CPA and other people that can help in that process.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea. I was going to make a comment too, Brad. When our meeting starts, our vice president sends out our agenda along with the link as another reminder. Excuse me. And we just follow our agenda. So we always know when we're speaking. So our president has all of us muted. And then I just know I'm up after Mike because my name's Monica. So that just keeps it flowing quick. So just a little food for thought. If you guys are all still using your agenda, that helps.
I feel like that's one thing we haven't done well. I used to write down every single person's specific ask and go through, and then it would be a reminder for me to have everyone what they were looking for. And now it's so much easier to not do that. And so I do a little bit better when I say it out loud and write it down at the same time, or write it down and then revisit it in the future. So that's something I've got to figure out a little bit better of getting that agenda out. And on Zoom, just so everyone knows, you can upload the file right into the chat window. People can download it. They don't have to go searching through their email. It's just a really easy way.
I can send you ours if you want to peek at it, because we also have a green dot. Who's ever in the green, we keep track of that. So it's a good reminder for people to always know where they're at.
Yeah, share with us. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Brooke.
I was just going to share what we've been doing. So you can actually upload like the person that's speaking at their slideshow. Well, our president just, instead of doing like the agenda, because our agenda is very, it doesn't have everybody's order that we're speaking in, but she posts like a picture of the person that's getting ready to speak and their name, and then underneath there is the next person up. So you just always pay attention. And so she doesn't have to do it every single week. It's actually in alphabetical order. So it's the same order every single week. And she unmutes us. Actually, we unmute ourselves, but she mutes us if we forget to. So.
If you act up.
Great. I would love to go back to the losing members, just because this is something that I'm really working on, and I'm a director consultant in addition to being a member. And one of the questions, I think our membership committees are super important right now, being proactive, having our check-ins with our people. Depending on how your chapter divides that, we as members can feel empowered to reach out to our individual members. Maybe an educational moment around the non-monetary reasons we're in BNI. I mean, one of the things that our executive director said on our Wine Wednesday the other day was, the truth is we always talk about referrals. We join for the relationships and the business comes. So really focusing on the relationship part of it, and asking people, what are some of the non-monetary, non-referral based reasons you joined or you've stayed in BNI, and to share some of those, because I think it's really important, even maybe as a meeting stimulant, to add that into our weekly member presentation so we can all remind each other of all the different things we've learned and earned and the benefits of being in BNI for however many years we have. And then finally, to ask the member if they log their closed business in BNI Connect, and to go back and look at the last 12 months and how much they've made. Because I think sometimes we forget how much we've actually earned in the last 12 months from BNI. And so sometimes when people are thinking maybe leaving is a better option than paying the X amount of dollars for the next 6 months when we know people are struggling, but it might be a good reminder sometimes, even for myself, to go back and go, oh, okay, I thought it was a slower year, but I actually, how much you got. So, and so that way maybe they see the non-money things and the money they have earned as a way to gently guide them into hopefully making some choices that keep them in these relationships and groups. So hopefully that helps.
Love it. There's some great comments in there. And I love maybe even doing some video on members that are long-standing, that are in it for the relationships and the business practices. And, we have a painter in our group that he's always said, yeah, the business is great, but I'm really here because X, Y, and Z. I'm here because there's other business owners here. And right now, I think we need more of rallying business owners around us and trying to keep them afloat and help them out and do whatever we can to support others in order to have the best results for the chapter as well as them. And ultimately, it will show up in our own pockets as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think now you can't afford not to be in BNI, because it's a good place to mastermind and for people to come up with ideas that you haven't thought about and ways to earn money and support and all of it. So yeah, totally.
So we've talked about BNI. What about in our own markets? What are we doing for our people that are in our databases? I feel like a lot of people have kind of buried their heads. I just got off our market center call and also our ALC call. I'm a Keller Williams agent here. And many people are really struggling that don't do a whole lot of business. And those that do a whole lot, I feel are pressing forward. What are you seeing, and what are you doing with your database? And what are you seeing from other people in their database that is working really well? I know we've talked about care calls on last conversations. We've talked about how we can support others. I saw a post in the group that was about for sale by owners that we can't market to them right now, but maybe we can support them in some way. So anybody have any ideas on how we can help our databases better? What kinds of things are you doing to really grow that?
Brad.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Trisha Cook, Savannah, Georgia, everybody else. My coach this morning was talking about another team who have still been marketing to for sale by owners, but instead of the normal marketing that we would do, they're basically saying, how would you like to get an entire team of agents to view your home virtually? So you just walk us through and tell us the features and such, and if we have a buyer, we can help you. And you're building that relationship with those for sale by owners. So when they are ready to list and come to their senses, they're calling you. I thought that was brilliant.
I think that's excellent. I have to write some of these nuggets down for myself.
Quick question on that, please, Trisha. Quick question. So the homeowner is the one doing the video, correct? Okay.
Why are you guys saying we can't market to for sale by owners now? Or is this a stay in place order in different states, you mean?
Correct. Yeah, there's different places with different restrictions.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
So that's great for FSBOs. We also talked about dropping off like a sanitizer kit, right? Booties and things like that, just to get in front of them or have that face-to-face or have it delivered. What about our past clients? Anyone have a great thing that they're doing right now? Kathy?
Can I just add something to the for sale by owner? Because this helped me get a listing last week, as a matter of fact, with a for sale by owner. And it had to do with the coronavirus exposure and the form that have come up. We're in a highly litigious environment just anyway. And so we brought up the fact that was introduced, and along with all the other forms, they really don't know what they don't know, and helping educate them in this environment can help them not only sell their home, but protect themselves while doing so from things other than just the virus. Just a thought.
This is Rhonda from REMAX in Colorado again. I have a question. I've been heard some people talk about dropping things off at houses. And so when I think about a pop by, I think, and maybe it's just Colorado, but I'm not sure that is within our approved parameters of the, you know, essential services. Is there a delineation on pop bys, or are people still doing those?
I believe you're going to get a big cross section of answers depending on state and location and depending on what regulations are in place. Because, you know, like our state in California, we have conflicting counties and what they say compared to the California Association of Realtors versus the stay in place order, whether you're essential or non-essential. So I think it's really you having a good understanding of what the orders are. And like, you know, for example, New York, you can't do really anything right now. People are really hunkered down, and a pop by would be frowned upon at this point. So, you know, I think it just comes down to, does anybody else having this internal struggle and issue?
Maybe a thumbs up or thumbs down if you're doing them. Anyone? No, yes.
Most people aren't.
I think even though it might be okay, there's so many people. I found there seems to be two schools of thought. One is not taking it too seriously. The others are sheltered and afraid of everybody, answering their own doors and gloves, that kind of thing. So just out of respect for other people's thoughts on it, I think I would hold off. I mean, I'm holding off, but I don't know, to answer your question as to whether or not it's under the approval or not. I just don't know.
Yeah, that's my gut is now is not a good time to do that. And I thought, well, maybe I'm over, you know, too much of an abundance of caution, but there's actually counties near us that have indicated there's a possibility if they do see you doing showings, 90 days jail time and $1,000 fine. And I was like, okay, I think I'm done. So, yeah.
And that's in a non-essential state, right? So you have not been deemed essential, correct?
We are deemed essential. And when you have a purchase contract, then you have the ability to do an inspection, an appraisal, and a walkthrough. But in-person showings are non-essential. And I think even vacant properties, they're saying even, you know, just don't go out at all. But yeah, when I saw the potential jail time and fees, you know, fines, I was like, whoa. But
That would certainly deter me.
The struggle is real.
We spent 2 weeks or a week and a half that way, and then they deemed us essential again, and that showings can be performed in California. So that's changed, but different counties have different restrictions. So there's $1,000 fine, like in Riverside County, if you can't prove that you're doing something that's essential. So,
as far as pop bys go, I think that you're more advantageous in sending notes right now. People are looking at their mail a lot, and they're not just throwing things out. You can say some nice words and then some encouraging words, and just tell them you're there, contact me, whatever. We're looking forward to seeing you when this is over. And I think I've been doing maybe 10 to 15 notes a day, and I think that has always been very successful for me.
I was going to add that. I was going to say the same thing. I know I can hear a lot of Buffini people too talking their language. I send a lot of cards. I added doing cards to the kids. Then that has gotten huge response. I mean, I have like colored cardstock and envelopes, and I'm literally drawing, depending on the age, like happy faces and rainbows and hearts and whatnot. And my clients are taking video of their kids opening it and texting it to me and saying thank you. So if you haven't added your clients' kids to your mailing roster, I think that's huge, because people's kids are really struggling right now too. So I would add kids to those mailing lists.
That's
so if
awesome.
I may also address, Brad, the Popeye, I've stopped doing them as well. And I was thinking along the same lines that James just mentioned and what Brooke just said, like sending out cards, but maybe we put in there like a lottery ticket or seed packets if you feel you need to give something along with your note. That's what I was just thinking.
That's great. What other communication mediums are we using? I mean, we're shifting over to this tech world, but we're still missing out on that face-to-face and the delivery of Popeyes. What else have you used that's been effective?
My
Brad.
husband and I use viral marketing, and we just do videos of ourselves, and they send them out for us via text and email. So we just went to videos.
Video. Okay. Trisha?
It's a little late to grab this one, and it was accidental awesomeness. But we always do Easter Bunny pictures for the whole community, and instead of the Easter Bunny pictures, we offered the Easter Bunny suit to the fire department if they wanted to go around to the community of 25,000 residents, and they turned it down, but encouraged me to do it, just because of liability. And we literally went to every house in my city, Friday and Saturday. And that was so well received. We had kids holding up posters that said, "Thank you, Trisha Cook team." And it was amazing. So that's probably the best marketing that I've ever done. And it was absolutely unintentional, but absolutely wonderful too.
So you pivoted, right? So you typically have an event that you hold, and you just took the Easter Bunny suit. I saw your marketing for it, that you threw them in the back of a convertible and drove around through neighborhoods and announced that you were going to come at a certain time.
Right. And that was, of course, a tentative schedule, and said you have to be outside. We don't want you to, we want you to socially distance. Don't crowd. No hanging out with your neighbors. Be in your driveway. We will drive by your house with the Easter Bunny. We had a big, huge speaker and playing the same 5 songs all day long.
A little bit of personal torture.
Brad, another thing that I was thinking of is that if you're a member of Send Out Cards, you can take people's pictures off Facebook, and they're posting a lot of pictures of their kids and their family and Easter events and stuff like that. And you could put that on the front of the card, and it personalizes. And very few people throw the card out when it has their own picture of their family on it.
That's great. Trisha, to add on to yours too, we're doing our front porch quarantine project. So we've done a contest where we're pushing out to all of our past clients on Nextdoor and different places this project. We have a photographer that's taking family portraits on people's doorsteps. And so we've run a contest that surrounds it. I'm almost thinking I want to just drive through neighborhoods and take pictures of families and telling them what time it's going to be. I might want to shift on that a little bit if that worked that well for you. And she's just literally setting up 20-minute windows where she'll come into a neighborhood and she'll line up 3, 4, 5 of them and take their photo to memorialize what's going on right now. And everybody steps outside and takes a photo, and we've gotten really great results with people tagging each other. And we set it up where you have to nominate someone. So people are going onto our Facebook page and tagging a neighbor, and that's your entry. Your entry into the contest is tagging that person, so we get more social engagement. And then ultimately on one day, we hire the photographer for the whole day, and she's just going to schedule a route and go through and do 20 different photo shoots.
That's brilliant.
What else? I feel like we're all zoomed out. Are you guys okay?
There's a lot.
I'm zoomed out.
I tell you what, it's part of it is there's a lot of uptight people right now, and I'm trying to do some goofy stuff just to bring a smile to people's face. And sometimes I think that's all enough. I've done things like take a picture of my own face. This is a horrible idea, I know you think already, but I'll put my face, a picture of my face inside a card and say, I just wanted to get face to face with you. dumb things like that. I just got some new business cards, and they kind of look like this. I'm the house doctor. Yes, I make house calls. Okay, and I may drop something off like that with a pop by gift, and the pop by gift is a thing of wipes or hand sanitizers, or I've even for people I know really well, I drop them a crappy gift. It's a roll of toilet paper in a baggie, you know. But something just to make somebody smile for a few seconds. I think it kind of lightens the mood a little bit and puts your personality on it if you're into that kind of thing.
I love it. I love the corn. Corn works. It's great. We're working to partner with a local brewery right now and distillery to create hand sanitizer for us. So they've started manufacturing hand sanitizer instead of beer. And so just an idea for you, if we're talking about pop buys, I think the appropriate pop buy would probably be a hand sanitizer, wipes, toilet paper's funny, right? All those things that I think people would actually receive well. We're working on that right now, and they're just little bottles that are delivered. They're not name brand, and we can slap some labels on them and deliver them. So we've got 15 minutes. I'm doing an hour long each one. Does anyone have an agent that they're seeking, an outbound referral that they're looking for in a different neighborhood, different place around the country? Any connections needed right now? Okay. Well, think about the BNI group for that purpose. So if you need someone to send an outbound referral, think of the Facebook group. Is anyone in here not on the Facebook group? Raise your hand. Okay. So I'll pop a link in there for you so you can log on and sign up for the Facebook group. Today we're actually in a larger BNI international group. This is a live feed into that. There's about 19,000, 20,000 members in it. So if you go in there and share that and communicate on it, that'd be great too. And if you know any agents that are in your market, a different market, maybe that you've done business with in the past. Actually, somebody in Tennessee texted me today and said, hey, I just did a deal with an agent that was out of area. Can I invite him into the group? I think that's a great idea to bring into our BNI Real Estate Referral Network. I'd like to grow this as big as possible. We're almost at 1,000 members in the Facebook group, and we're trying to grow even more. So do your best to help us out and get us connected. Any other parting words before we take off this call? I literally feel like you are all so fried from Zoom. I want to show you all the very first one and how excited everybody was to be on the call. And now we're like, you're going to put me on another Zoom call. I can't believe this. Go ahead.
Brad, thank you so much for getting us all together. This is very informative.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're getting good value out of it. And hopefully there's one little nugget that anyone can take away and implement. I think that's huge. And I'm sure we've all talked it out to death, but I think the frequency and methodology of how we can communicate with our database, our people, is the most important part, right? Doing care calls and increasing our communication with our BNI chapters, as tired as we are of doing it from a distance, will ultimately be the way that we stay afloat. So appreciate that you're getting something out of it. And we're all in this together. It's tough. It's tough for me too. I have good days and bad days, that's for sure.
I will say that this has actually been, of this whole event, the Zoom has been a positive thing for me because I've really been dragging my feet to be out there on a video basis with my clients and all the different ways you can do it. I just felt like I was too old to do that. You know, I'm not proficient with it enough yet and be nervous and everything, but this has made it a little bit easier. And I feel like, okay, I can do this now and I don't feel self-conscious and we get practice. And so for me, I'm going to take this even afterwards and continue to use it, not in lieu of, but as part of my marketing going forward. So I'm looking at it as a positive.
Hi, it's Lynn Murray from Indianapolis, Indiana area, and I've got a team of 3 agents, and I've told them who have been hesitant to be in videos or doing videos that this is going to put a trajectory on those that have been reluctant to do videos. Now they're going to be doing videos, so I really think it's going to change our jobs a lot, be it virtual open houses, be it Matterport 360, yeah, Matterport videos, those types of things. If we're not doing it, people are going to start doing it after all of this is over.
We don't have a choice, right? So you have to either step up and meet the call to action on this. It's funny, right before this started, I was on a call with a buyer. The buyer's already watched both my virtual tours, including a 3D Matterport. They've looked at all the photos. They're literally sold on the house. I mean, it was an interesting phone call. It was, we think we just need to get inside. How do we do this? Right? It was a different call than I've ever really experienced about showing a buyer a house. They had lined up everything remotely. They had really understood what they're getting into. And that barrier to entry to go in the house is actually a real fear for them, right? It's a fear of crossing that threshold becomes a whole different conversation. And I actually had to go through, okay, so here's the safety precautions that we go through. We can set this up, but we're gonna have gloves and we're gonna have a mask, and we're gonna make sure we have wipes and hand sanitizer and booties and everything, so that when we go through this is the process that we have for making sure that you're safe and the seller's safe. And it was a different, it really showed to me that it was a different style of shopping for a house. Does that make sense? They're now in a completely different place of how they're shopping. And it's going to change our industry quite a bit. And it doesn't mean that agents are going away. It's just going to change the way that the buyers look at things, and same with the sellers.
I think it
I find it interesting that buyers still have to walk through the house, right? You keep hearing about the iBuyer programs, so you can buy it online and make your offer online. They still have to walk through the house.
Most people do. I've done it without it. I sold a $2.8 million condo in San Diego to a gentleman in Korea, South Korea, and he never saw the house. So, but he still, we did it virtually, but I think ultimately people still want to see the tangible, make sure it's what they really want.
Yeah, I just got an offer on a home today. The agent did a virtual showing last night. So it was an out-of-state buyer, but yeah.
We're seeing, we were seeing more and more of that, and now we're really seeing it, right? There's so many more virtual. Is anyone doing, I saw Jose post in here, is anyone doing virtual open houses?
I am.
Our office has done it.
What about, is anyone having success with capture? Like, how are you funneling? This is a conversation with one of my buyer's agents today. How are you funneling people to generate their contact information? And like, what's the call to action? Are you physically at the house walking through it for 3 hours and anybody can ask you any question? Or are you trying to get them into some sort of raising their hand?
I think it's all in how you promote it, Brad. When I've only done one, and we advertised it on Facebook for like a week, and then went to the house and did a tour and had people, ask questions while we were doing our tour. And it wasn't a ton, but it was enough then that we just shared it on our blog, and we just pushed it out there. But that's how we did it. So we just said, hey, we're going to do a live open house. Join us this day and time. And it was actually a really big hit.
Was it a better benefit for your seller and for your own marketing, or was it a true lead generation tool for you for buyers?
No, it was actually for my builder. So we were in a parade of homes that was canceled. So it was to benefit my seller, my builder.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I just want to make a quick point here. We were using Zoom before the coronavirus at our listing appointment. So we would do the first appointment at the house, and then our second appointment was a Zoom call. And it's awesome. They love it. And I pull up the MLS and I'm showing them all the history and diving into all these homes. So everyone, even the older people, they loved the Zoom call. So just FYI, I think somebody mentioned we're going to be seeing this down the road. I agree with them.
That's great. And I think it's a super valid thing to do these open houses for our sellers. Is anyone having success capturing buyers?
So I'm still playing around with it, trying to figure it out. But one of the girls in our office, she did a scavenger hunt as she was walking through the house. She had her sellers put out Corona beer, and as she was walking through the house doing the video tour, you have to count how many Corona bottles that you're finding, and then you comment and say how many, and if you guess, then they put you in a pile to draw from and give you like a gift card or something. So you get a lot more people commenting, and then you get their information that way. So you have to go in through like Messenger or something like that. That was the crazy thing, is that they were asked to put their comment in the comments, but nobody was doing that. They were just sending it via like instant message. And so then she was just going back and like reaching out to them, and she was able to put, I think, 7 people in her database from that. And she had 49 people watching it, I think.
That's 49 is good. I mean, that's good interaction, and that's really positive. Lynn's messaging me and saying that there's some great resources on KW Connect if you're a Keller Williams agent on virtual open houses. I've seen a couple others that were outside agents as well that were doing big, huge video chats and things like that on Zoom about how they're doing their open houses. I think one gal did, like, she put 3 in escrow with never even meeting the buyer this past week. So there's definitely ways to do it. I'm just trying to find the best way to funnel the actual buyers with contact information into my database, right? How do I leverage my buyer's agent to get out and do a walkthrough of the property? Is it via a Facebook Live? Is it through a Zoom call? Do they have to schedule an appointment, right? Instead of doing it, just blasting it out to the world, can we get them to schedule the appointment so that we can do a virtual call behind the scenes? So I don't know the answer. I'm trying to figure it out myself and see how we can continue to leverage and find those new buyers without doing our traditional methods.
Hey, Brad,
just trial and error.
Brad, two quick things. I actually am tired of Zoom meetings that are unproductive. I look forward to this meeting. This absolutely gets me engaged and motivated every week, and I want to thank you. The second thing, 2 weeks on one of these meetings, I asked you about the wisdom of me taking the listing, and you said you take the listing. I took the listing and sold it the next day, so thanks. You made me some money.
Oh, there you go. I'll take my referral fee whenever you're ready, Dave. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad you didn't let it stop you. And the fact that you sold it the next day is even more incredible. So that's really cool. And I'm so grateful that everybody's coming on to these and sharing and doing whatever we can to fill our minds. I have 3 more scheduled. So if you want to come back and check out the next one, we've got one Friday at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so 10:30 on Friday, and then the same exact schedule between this call and the Friday call next week. So next week we'll be doing the exact same thing, Tuesday at 1 o'clock and Friday at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you make your adjustments for your time zone. If you have any more ideas, hit me up, give me a call, email me, let me know. Brooke?
I wanted to add, because I know that a lot of times on our Facebook page, I see people saying, I work in this area. If you're ever, looking to send referrals. I said it on one of the other meetings. I think now is a huge, huge opportunity. I'm up in Sonoma County, Northern California. I know one of my biggest referral sources is Marin County and San Francisco based agents, and maybe even the East Bay. And so I was proactive in calling those BNI members who are agents in that area and all the agents who've ever sent me business before, just to check in and see how they're doing. So in terms of one more proactive thing that maybe you could be doing, where's the area that refers to your area, and reach out to those agents and start planting seeds to hopefully be that agent that they refer. because again, I think it's one more proactive thing we can be doing to like layer our business and our BNI membership. So I hope that helps anyone. And if you decide to do it and you have some success, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to champion people along. So
That's great, Brooke. I think it's huge, right? It's also in line with why I do this, right? To be a face of all of this, and hopefully if there is something coming in our direction that you'll think of us first.
Yeah, I called 80 agents in our region, and probably 50% picked up, and 90% of the people who picked up were glad to hear and had great conversations, and a few people called me back. So again, I think people are looking to connect, and then we can tell them about this also.
Awesome. Well, I love it. And yeah, if you want to make phone calls and drive them into the larger group here, I would love that. And to make sure that they're being invited, and we can have a larger base of agents here in this network. So, all right. Well, I'm going to sign off today. I appreciate everybody coming out, and hopefully we'll catch up with you on the next 3. We'll keep doing these until this is all over. So stay tuned, and we'll hopefully connect here very soon.
Thank
Thank you all for coming, guys. See ya.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great week.